Good afternoon, everyone. I am going to wait until it officially hits 1 p.m. Before we get started to allow a few more folks to join this afternoon. But thank you for being with us. And feel free to use the chat box to drop where you are tuning in from in the meantime. All right. Well, it looks like we are just after 1 p.m. Thank you, everyone, for being with us for the Virginia Governor's Conference on Aging webinar series, which is generously sponsored by Virginia Housing, a continued partner, an allied organization. My name is Jillian Saul, and I staff the Virginia Governor's Conference on Aging. I'm going to run through a couple of quick housekeeping items before I hand it over to our presenters. You'll see some helpful links or website pages and email addresses here, and I will be sharing that in the chat also in just a second. So our webinar series is held every fourth Tuesday from 1 to 2 p.m. And today we have ConfirmOK and Leon Smith with ConfirmOK and Sheriff Crawford of the Petersburg Sheriff's Department to discuss automated wellness check programs. So I think it will be a great webinar. Alrighty. Some logistical items, we really do encourage questions. If you could please submit your questions through the Q&A box, that will help me keep track of all inquiries. If we're ever in a formal Q&A period, you may also use the raise hand feature if you'd prefer to ask your question out loud. And raising your hand would just be the request to be unmuted. We're going to keep the chat open. We're also going to do a poll this afternoon, and so that should populate on your screen. If it happens to not populate on your screen, feel free to drop any responses in the chat as well. I'm sure you're notified on your screen that this webinar is being recorded. It will be shared to the VGCOA YouTube page in the coming days, where you can find all previously recorded webinars in the series. Next month we will have a webinar. It will not fall on the fourth Tuesday. I made note it will be on July 21st, just due to some scheduling conflicts. That will be Parks, Activity, and Aging Well with Dr. Deborah Cohen. And so I will share the link to that webinar in the chat. Also in the chat, I will just drop our generic website page where you can stay up to date with all upcoming webinars. We are fairly booked through the rest of the year. Alrighty, well, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Leon Smith with ConfirmOK. But thank you everyone for being with us, and feel free to send me a DM if you have any logistical questions. Oh, you're on mute, Leon.
Okay, let me share my screen. Hey, did this work?
Yep, looks great.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me, VGA. Really appreciate it. And Sheriff Crawford, thank you for joining. My name is Leon Smith. I run a company called ConfirmOK. And as mentioned, I'm honored to be joined by our special guest, Sheriff Crawford, who's also the 2022 National Sheriff of the Year, along with many other accolades, whom we'll hear from shortly. But a moment ago, we were asked to do a survey, a poll, I should say. Please fill that out. Hold that number with you. It's the real reason why I'm here.
All
Okay,
right.
so a quick word.
Oops, sorry, I'm going to go ahead and launch that poll for you, Leon.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, so the poll is up and should be on everyone's screens.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jillian. So while the poll's going on, a quick word on who I am. Again, I'm the founder of ConfirmOK. We work with sheriff offices, AAAs, council on aging, essentially any organization working with seniors, veterans, vulnerable populations. We make automated daily phone calls to these individuals. We check in on them daily. If they don't respond, then we alert the corresponding agency that this resident has not responded today. And so the mission is to keep older adults safe and aging in dignity and aging in place. Along with that, we also do some work with scams. By scams, I mean educating residents about scams via telephone when we find out there's a kind of a scam going around the community. Okay, so I want to start with a picture. So right now, somewhere in Virginia, an older adult is alone on the floor, and no one knows yet. They fell. They couldn't get up, and the clock is running. For nearly 1 in 3 older people who fall, the wait stretches past an hour. And those who lie there that long, half don't survive the next 6 months. This idea is called the long lie, and it's almost entirely preventable. As we all know, this is not a rare story. 24 million adults over 50 in this country live alone. Among those 85 and older is 38%. 1 in 5 older adults who live alone live in poverty, and it falls hardest on women and people of color. We're talking about millions of our own neighbors. And again, these are the ones who don't have many or much to fall back on. So if we look at the poll numbers, if we look at the poll numbers that were popped up, a majority of people here do work with people who do live alone. Okay, so and the risk with this is not spread evenly. Specifically, most homes aren't built for aging. Only about 40% have the basics. So, for example, a step-in shower, a first floor bed or bath. And then if you're renting, for 58% of people, this is a cost burden. Additionally, nearly 85% of counties with the oldest populations are rural, where help is furthest away. So if we stack these variables together, someone lives in rural, they have a disability, and they're in a disadvantaged neighborhood, we found the person our current system is least able to reach. So many of us on this call know how this works, but as a high level, let me show you how a fall becomes a fatality. More than 1 in 4 adults fall every year. When you live alone, it's more than half. About 30% of people who fall end up in that long lie that I mentioned earlier, and which is an hour more on the floor. And after a long lie, the 6 month fatality rate is 1 in 2. The fall itself usually is survivable. It's the hours alone afterwards that aren't. So we tell ourselves there's a safety net, but when we look closer among older adults who live alone, 47% say they lack companionship. And among those with disability is 51%. And the devices we all pictured, the medical alert, the life alert pendant, and 80% of falls that take place where it's available, they aren't used simply because a person has to be conscious to press a button, right? So if the pendant is on the wrist and the person falls and they can't reach it, the pendant is not useful. And then, moving on to the social network, when there's no daily contact with these individuals, the whole system pays. And by the whole system, I mean all the different social services within a community. And so in one large city specifically, welfare checks were about 7% of all 911 calls. These are more than thefts, noise complaints, and alarms. A single rural welfare check can take a deputy 45 minutes or so to do this call. And every one of these checks takes a deputy or officer off the road to confirm something a 30-second phone call could have flagged hours earlier. So currently, there's two choices. Today, we are mostly reactive, which makes sense. So we respond after something has already gone wrong, and if only someone makes a call. Too often, it's a discovery, not a rescue. The better model that I'm proposing and that's used by many sheriff offices, police departments, and AAAs across the country is to set up a daily pattern so silence becomes a signal. No answer isn't a tragedy found days later. It's an early warning, and help arrives in hours, not days. So the idea or concept is pretty simple. It's a phone call, one automated call every day at a time the resident picks. The phone calls, they pick up the phone, they press one to confirm that they're okay. There's no app, there's nothing to charge, there's no button to push. A call that just goes out to the phone that residents already know how to use. So we stop waiting for the crisis to announce itself. So I would like to bring in Sheriff Crawford, who has, again, 2022 National Sheriff of the Year, many accolades, has done a lot with seniors in her community. So a couple questions for you, Sheriff Crawford, to talk about what you're doing for the community with regards to law enforcement. So the first question is your work with the senior in the community. What does it look like currently?
First of all, thank you, Leon, for inviting me to join you today, and thank everybody for being on this webinar. Our commitment to our seniors is one of the most rewarding parts of what we do in our office. We focus on a balance of safety and quality of life. And on the safety side, we provide vital resources like Triad, which is our senior citizen crime prevention program, the File of Life, and the Yellow Dot program, as well as our ConfirmOK program, which is our daily check-in service. But we also believe in keeping our seniors active and connected, and we regularly organize trips to see plays, rodeos, go to the fair, as well as attend concerts together. So it's about making sure that our seniors are not only safe, but protected and celebrated.
Got it. And so you mentioned the triad. Do you mind talking about what that is and what you have built using it?
Triad is our senior citizen crime prevention program, and it is a program offered throughout Virginia, which was initiated many years ago from the Office of the Attorney General. But it's more than just a program. It's a partnership between my office, the community, and our senior residents. We have built through Triad pretty much a circle of protection. And we don't just hand out pamphlets. We build a network to protect our seniors and to ensure that not only are they safe, but they have medical information that they need to stay healthy. But most importantly, we've kind of built a family, and we have over 2,200 seniors enrolled in our program. And whether we're discussing fraud prevention or going to a meeting together or taking a bus trip to a concert, we send a clear message that our seniors are our priority, that they are protected, and we consider them an active part of our community. Now, as everyone knows, isolation is a big threat to seniors, just as crime is. But we've built a social calendar that keeps our seniors active and engaged. And also, we built a community where seniors feel valued and remembered rather than forgotten. So through Triad, we built a direct line of communication between law enforcement and the elderly, and it has transformed our office from a distant agency into a group of familiar faces. And seniors realize that they have a seat at the table where they can voice their concerns directly to me. And they do call me, and I answer every phone call.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. And so, given the triad, given your work with the seniors in your community, where do you see daily check-in calls fitting in into the ecosystem of your work with seniors?
The check-ins are the heart and soul of this program. They're the primary link between the sheriff's office and the seniors who live alone. It's as you said, a consistent, scheduled point of contact for them. and it's at a prearranged time that they set. So if they decide that they're going on vacation, for example, we'll suspend that for that period of time and then reinstate it when they return. But it's a simple call, but it can be a lifesaver. It's the first line of defense. And by calling our seniors every day, we make sure they are upright, they are healthy, and they are safe. Now, if they don't answer, we send out 3 calls. On the third call, if they don't answer, we go out and check on them. It's making sure that no senior in Petersburg has to worry about being alone in an emergency. And this fits into not only the seniors' um, lives, it fits into the lives of the families. Particularly, it provides peace of mind to families who live away from their parents or their senior that they are involved with. They may work or live in another city, and they have the comfort of knowing that our office is checking on their loved one on a regular basis every day.
I mean, thank you, Sheriff Crawford. And as well, you work with a lot of seniors, you get a lot of phone calls. Is there a story from the field that stays with you with your work with the seniors?
Oh yeah, we have with ConfirmOK.
In general, in
Okay,
general.
well, let me tell you about ConfirmOK though.
Yeah.
One of the things that happens sometimes is that the seniors are home, but they don't hear the phone. Uh, or there's one lady, for example, she had been out in her garden and she was relaxing on her front porch and she never answered the phone. So we went out and checked on her. She said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot that you were going to be calling me," because they think they hear my voice when we call. So they say, I forgot you were going to be calling me, and I've been sitting on the porch. I've been working out in my garden, so I'm just relaxing. So that was a situation where the whole situation ended up okay. No tragedy, nothing, no trauma or anything, but that happens often. And we have a lot. When we have heavy snow. A lot of times, well, I do make robocalls to all of our seniors anytime we're having a major event, whether it's weather or just regardless of what it is, an event in the city. And we did have a major snowstorm a couple of years ago. And I called them and say, please, the snow is coming. Go out and get whatever you need for a few days so that you don't have to worry about getting out in the snow. So a lady called me and said, well, I need some string beans. Could you get me some string beans? So I'm like, okay, well, we'll get you these string beans today, but don't ask me for string beans anymore. But those are just some of the wonderful things that and encounters that we have with our seniors.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing, Sheriff Crawford. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
And so the idea of a check-in, right? This isn't a theory, something that's being tested. It's already in use and saving lives across the country. Um, a case study specifically in Allegheny County, North Carolina, a couple months ago in April, this gentleman here in the middle of this picture of the Facebook post, Buck, fell, and Buck missed all 3 of his check-in calls. At that time, a deputy was sent to his house to check on him. Buck had an altered mental state, but Buck was taken to the hospital and he was okay. In this Facebook post, you see here Sheriff Glenn and his assistant, Sandra Wooten, went to the hospital to visit him. Sandra gave me a phone call letting me know, thanking me about, hey, the system works as intended. We found Buck. He's okay. Buck is a very famous person within his senior community. And so community members were very happy to know that Buck is okay and recovering well in the hospital. And so beyond sheriff offices, we also work with, again, AAAs and other government agencies. So specific to Salem, Massachusetts, we work with the Council on Aging over there to do welfare checks in their community. Their AAA partners with the local law enforcement so that if someone misses a check-in in Salem, Massachusetts, the local PD is notified and an officer is dispatched to their house. As well in Salem, they have a program where they have lock boxes for each senior so that if an officer can't get in, there's a box with a key so that no forced entry has to happen. And then in Plano, Texas, we work with the 911 dispatch center. So in Plano, Texas, they have what's called a care team, and they have a specific department dedicated to calling seniors and checking on them daily. And so they utilize ConfirmOK to make those phone calls. And if someone doesn't pick up, then an officer within Plano is sent to the person's house to go check in on them. And so these two models also represent check-in services, different use cases, but with the same outcomes. And so at a high level, the check-in is really easy. A department enrolls its residents. We get their name, phone number, and address. There's no HIPAA information, so that is, not a big concern for cities to get started. Once we have that, a daily automated call is made to the individual. And so we typically record the voice of the sheriff, the chief, the mayor, or the director of the AAA to say, hey, this is Sheriff Smith checking in on you. I hope that you're okay. Press 1 and pound. The resident confirms. Great. If the resident doesn't confirm and we call them 3 times, then an officer is dispatched or an action is taken depending on how the agency has set up their system. And then lastly, again, 60 million folks in our country live alone, and the number continues to climb. And so implementing check-in systems for many departments across the country has been a simple, proven, and trusted way to improve that safety net. Since again, as I mentioned earlier, many people don't have that currently. And so by providing this, law enforcement agencies and AAAs specifically are becoming more and more of that net that people rely on to age in place. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leon and Sheriff Crawford. Sheriff Crawford, I enjoyed hearing those positive stories, and I appreciate you laying out this work, Leon. So it looks like we do have a question, or maybe more than one question already in the queue. So I'm going to go ahead and start with those, and I know I have a couple myself. So let's see. First up, we had a question from Brooke Edwards. How do seniors find out about this program? Do all counties in Virginia participate? How can we advocate for this in our community?
Yeah, so we're currently in Petersburg, also in Wyeth County, currently, but in your Sheriff Crawford, you can talk about this probably in greater detail. But typically, when a sheriff department signs up, they alert this local senior center, and they do press releases, and so these press releases go out, talk about it, and then Facebook posts have also been pretty impactful. But Sheriff Crawford, you probably have a greater sense about how to reach seniors in your community.
Yeah, well, as I said, we have a triad program that has over 2,000 people involved. So a lot of it has been word of mouth. As Leon said, Facebook. Um, we've shared it with pastors to share with their congregations, senior centers, just any and every event. My office participates in every event that takes place in Petersburg and sometimes outside of Petersburg. So we always carry information and share about this program because it's a win-win for everyone. Um, so as Leon said also, press releases, word of mouth, events, meetings, just any way that through churches, any way that a lot of people are present. That's one of the ways to get it out.
Thank you both. And Similar question that I had had, or kind of stemming off of that. So I know that you spoke to the outreach and to getting the word out, and also a little bit to enrollment. But can you speak, maybe, Leon, a little bit more to the logistics of enrollment? I know you said that the department, or the police department, or the local, or the locality would simply add, a name and a contact to the list, but um, what do those specific steps look like for an individual or for their family, for example?
Yeah, so when an agency enrolls or signs up to use ConfirmOK, they have a dashboard. A resident signs up through an agency, either on their website or in some in-person form. And then within the dashboard, uh, someone within the agency types in the information. For ConfirmOK, we do a pretty comprehensive onboarding to show people how to add individuals to the system. And within each agency that we work with, typically there's just one person within that organization that admins the system. So once someone is in the system, it's pretty straightforward after that. And again, all we need is a name, the phone number, and the address.
It's great that it's that simple for the resident, and good to hear that there's that support onboarding system in place. Alrighty. Another question I saw come in the chat, Leora Raskus, and apologies if I'm getting any pronunciation wrong. Um, are the daily check-in calls available to individuals who live on their own who may not be seniors? I could see this being very helpful to people who are living alone, experiencing mental health challenges, or even, perhaps other disabilities.
Yeah, absolutely. So we see many veterans use ConfirmOK just by themselves. We also see, which is an interesting use case, people that go on a lot of hikes use ConfirmOK. So if you go on a hike, the system will check in on you if there's reception. And if you don't respond, then your family members are notified. But definitely, individuals can use ConfirmOK outside of an agency.
That is interesting and good to know. Alrighty. Delane Caldwell asks, is there a time frame expectation for the police department to respond if that is the option of contact if no answer?
Yeah, this is specific to each individual jurisdiction. Sheriff Crawford, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, once we find out that the person has not picked up for that third time, we try to respond within less than 30 minutes. And we're the sheriff's office as well. We have the program here at our office as opposed to the police department here in Petersburg.
Thank you for that information.
Mhm.
Kiana Hatchett asks, what outcomes or metrics do you use to evaluate whether programs like ConfirmOK are effectively supporting adults who are aging in place? And I recognize that this may be targeted, for an agency representative, but if Leon, you have any insight as to how that's tracked, that would be great. Or even Sheriff
Yeah.
Crawford.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we look at a combination of engagement metrics. So this includes engagement by the individuals, so the residents, responsiveness from the agency, and intervention metrics. So specifically, the check-in, we call the check-in compliance rate. How often do people check in is one metric. When people sign up to these types of programs, it's often self-selecting. So people are encouraged and are motivated to do so. In addition to this, what we find consistently is that for many, even though this is an automated phone call and they hear a recording of the sheriff or chief or AAA director, this is the only phone call they might get the whole day. So they're looking forward to it. So again, the check-in compliance rate, time to response. So for some jurisdictions, we do a random sampling of that to check to see what that is looking like. And then reach and coverage. So, we'll look at a GIS, a geographic information system map, and map out to see, given given the location of a sheriff or agency, how far is their reach now, given that they're using the system versus when they weren't using the system. So obviously, a department serves everyone, but when they put these systems in place, are they able to serve more people with less staff? Are they able to retain or keep more residents in the loop with information. And so again, it's a mix of different metrics, just depending on the type of agencies we're serving.
Thank you very much. And then we have a question from Nanette Mitchell. What is the cost?
Yeah, so that depends on the size and the agency, but we work with uh, agencies to make sure the cost is within budget.
Great. I'm sorry, I'm just keeping tabs on the chat and seeing if any. All right, here we go. Teeb Nagasi asks, can you share more about the messages related to scams and fraud?
Yeah, absolutely. So because of where we sit in communities, we're able to make these phone calls to seniors daily. We've incorporated a new system where we can source scams that are taking place nationwide and then call individuals about these scams taking place. So for example, if a scam about, the big beautiful bill is taking place and it's starting to sweep across the country, a sheriff or chief can send out a message through ConfirmOK to residents, letting them know about the scam and what to do. So this is a new program that we're offering, but it's a way to educate residents in real time. That's not on Facebook and that's not in person, and you're able to get to them pretty fast with relevant information, and again, educate people about scams coming along so that when they do get these phone calls, they are at least aware of what to do and what types of scams are taking place. So we're pretty excited about it.
That's great. Delaney Caldwell asks, or Delane Caldwell asks, maybe Delaney, sorry, is there a limit to how many can participate, receive a call in this program? I imagine that that kind of goes to your earlier point about the different um, um, sizes for perhaps different localities or agencies, but if you want to speak to that a little bit more.
Yeah, there's no limit. There's no limit. So we have some rural counties who call, 10 to 12 people a day, and then we work with some large agencies, for example, in Nevada, they're calling 500 people at 9 a.m. in the morning. So the size and scale, it doesn't matter.
That's wonderful. Brooke Edwards asks, do you have ways to reach individuals who may be hard of hearing or part of the deaf community?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So the system works with landlines, and with landlines, there's different devices that people with these conditions are able to use. So, for example, my dad was a quadriplegic. He couldn't manually pick up the phone. However, he had a modified phone that he could use to answer. And so, being able to work with landlines has opened up a lot of possibilities for us. So, though we don't have anything specific for those communities, uh, the simple phone call works with modified devices pretty easily.
Okay, that is good to know. I see a follow-up note from Nanette about her earlier question regarding cost. She says, I was inquiring about the cost to the individual. A general idea would be helpful. Are you saying that the cost is only to the agency?
Yeah, so for individuals, it's 14.99 a month.
Thank you. Um, Another question, is there a specific number the person will receive the call from so they know who's calling?
Yeah, that's a great question. So every county that we or every department that we enroll, we provision a specific number to their area. So we get a local area code, and then we also update the caller ID to whatever the agency wants. So the individual receives the same phone call from the same number from the same caller ID every day.
That's great. Um, I am not seeing any other questions in the queue. I see a thank you. I've seen a couple of thank yous come in so far. So I appreciate you sharing this. I have a question. Or I did, and I had made a note of it, and of course now it's going to escape my brain. Um, oh, in terms of outreach, so on the outreach side of things, I know that there can be a lot of support that may be coming from family members, or from caretakers who might help with the get on board with the initiative. How do you maybe face the obstacle of seniors who may be hesitant to have this kind of monitoring, what they may see as a negative form of monitoring, which it's obviously not, but how do you sort of overcome that obstacle?
Yeah, as I mentioned, this is self-selecting, so people do sign up if they want to use it. If a if a son or daughter or caregiver wants to use this for an individual who doesn't want to use it, there's really nothing that we can do. However, we have seen that this system compared to, you say, ring monitors or cameras in the house, people do tend to like this more so than the cameras and such. So there's one case specifically that pops up where an individual didn't want to have the daily phone calls and didn't, but really didn't want to have a video in their house or camera in their house. So they prefer this. Sheriff Crawford, have you seen that pop up with you any with seniors not wanting to be checked in on or anything like that?
Well, seniors are resistant to change. So it has taken they're slowly coming around, all most of them. Um, but I really haven't seen any pushback. It's just a little bit hesitant because it's something new. But most of them are very much excited about having this program. And also, I would say to those listening, if you would contact your local sheriff's office and they need a reference about how this program works, please have them call me. Most of them probably know me because I've been president of the association, but just have them call me and I will walk them through it.
Thank you very much for that offer,
Mhm.
Sheriff. Um, so a follow-up to sort of that landline conversation, we have another question from Delane. With so many people moving away from landlines, do you anticipate being able to accommodate cell phones in the future?
Oh, right. Yeah. So the system works with cell phones or landlines, and then we can also send text. So it works with any type of phone that you have.
Thank you. And another question came in. This may have already been answered. Sorry. Is the best way we can advocate for this in our communities? Oh, yep. It looks like Brooke might have been typing that at the same time that Sheriff Crawford was mentioning to contact your sheriff department. So that has been answered. Um, more folks messaging saying that it was a great webinar and thanking our speakers. Let's see. I know we have a lot of questions coming in. As I sort of monitor the chat and the Q&A box, Sheriff Crawford and Leon, if you have any, final remarks that you'd like to make, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, I would just like to say again, thank you for having me today, and thank you, Sheriff Crawford, for joining. Truly, truly appreciate it. This topic and this concept is deeply, deeply important to me. Again, my dad becoming quadriplegic overnight, 10 years ago, is the real reason why I started this, and it's grown, which has been great. And I'm very happy to help seniors and people who have different disabilities in different communities and such. So again, thank you for your time. Really excited to share about something that I'm so passionate about.
Again, thank you, Leon, for inviting me. Thank all of you for joining us. Um, it is a great program. There's no downside to this program. It's a win-win for all, for the seniors, for people with disabilities, for the community. It's just a win-win for everyone. So I would encourage you, if you don't have it in your community, to talk with your sheriff about getting it. It's reasonable, it's cost effective, and can be a lifesaver.
Thank you very much, Leon and Sheriff Crawford. I can't thank you enough for taking all the questions as well. I'm so glad that we were able to get to all of the questions from our attendees. I found it very valuable, and hopefully, our listeners can go back to their respective organizations and agencies with this information. Um, I did see one last question pop up, and that is, can we get Sheriff Crawford's contact information? And I spoke with Sheriff Crawford about this yesterday, and there's a specific email to use, correct?
Share, you want me to share it?
If you don't mind, thank you. I had it written down and I've misplaced it.
Okay. It's Sheriff Crawford altogether at Petersburg dash S is in Sam, O is in Oscar.com. Sheriff Crawford at Petersburg dash SO.com.
Thank you very
My
much.
my
Go ahead.
office number is 804-733-2369.
Thank you very much. And Leon's email is here also on this slide. And I will also be sure to include these emails in the follow-up correspondence with all attendees. You'll also get a PDF copy of the slide decks. So you'll have that as a resource. And in the follow-up, we will also be sure to send the link to the recording of the webinar, which is on our YouTube page, so you can share with your networks as well. But I really do appreciate you both for spending your time with us on this afternoon and sharing this information. And thank you to all of our attendees for being with us. I thought it was a great webinar and great information about a great program. So um, everyone stay tuned for more information about upcoming webinars in the series every fourth Tuesday, except for next month, which will be a week early. Thanks, folks.
Thank you.